we are creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective, moments in time captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
All right, I want to welcome John Michel to the Working Artist Project.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, bro. It's a funny thing in America where people don't think about African Americans being multicultural or bilingual, and you happen to be both. So, you have a Haitian background. What's that like, and what was that like growing up with a Haitian background, and how did that contribute to your music?
That's interesting, man. There's like two answers to that. There's the answer that was happening, and then the answer in hindsight.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when it was happening, it was just happening to me. So basically, I grew up in this town called Waterbury, Connecticut.
Real Haitian.
Yeah, real Haitian. Not really knowing how I ended up there. All I knew is that my parents immigrated here from Haiti. I had family that lived in Stanford. I had family that lived in Norwalk. There were more Haitians there. I went to church in Norwalk, which is like a 45-minute drive south. But then, like my everyday was Waterbury, Connecticut. We moved to a neighborhood that was primarily Italian. I went to the neighborhood grade school. I went to the middle school that it fed to. Then I went to high school, And, as far as I knew in school, or as far as anybody else knew, I was just like some other black kid, right?
Right.
But as I tell people, when I got home, though, I crossed that driveway, and I was like in a little version of Haiti. I spoke French. My first language basically was French. I spoke Creole. You know what I mean? Like, my cousins came and stayed with me. We ate rice and beans. I played soccer in the backyard. Like, all these things that are kind of like, traditionally Haitian, I guess, for lack of a better word. But then again, like, my school life was like, I was in like honors classes, and I played soccer and I played basketball. So I was like this really weird version of like a black kid in school. But there was something different about me. Like, one of my close friends actually didn't even know I was Haitian until after we graduated high school.
Damn, how'd you hide that?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't. It's just that, like, there was no real outlet for me to be Haitian.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I played music. If somebody asked me, yeah, of course I'm Haitian. Or like in French class, people knew I was Haitian, you know what I'm saying? Or at least knew I spoke French for a reason, But again, like, nobody really asked because nobody really cared if you know what I mean?
Right.
As far as the musical influence, it's everything, because my parents both sing. My dad plays some guitar, and church. I played in church from about 9 years old on, you know what I mean? So that's really where I played music. I played trombone in school again. I was like the black trombone player, like, that guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? But like, it was different because there weren't just a whole bunch of black people in what I was doing because of the neighborhood I was in, and then the classes I was in. I would play basketball, so black people around there. I played soccer though, which is a white thing here. But in my country, it's the only thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
it's like, I wasn't really staying away from black people. I was just doing things that made me comfortable culturally, But yeah, anyways, musically, that was it. Because by the time I got to high school, I didn't really want to play trombone. So I played like in the like a citywide symphony orchestra. But then I was playing bass in church, and then jazz came.
Okay, so you started playing bass in church, like your mom gave you a bass.
Yeah, my dad, we had like a church meeting. They needed a bass player. He was like, "Oh yeah, Jonathan plays bass." I was like, "Oh, okay."
But did you actually?
No. I don't think I even owned one at the time.
Was your dad the preacher or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the leaders of the church.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Man, so like, do you think like that cultural diversity gave you an edge over your other brothers and sisters in the music and outside of it?
I think that what it does, it got me closer to like the point of Black American music. You know, like I didn't really. My first exposure to Black American music, I guess, as like a musician, like understanding that I got it, was the blues, like B.B. King, Buddy Guy type of stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I get this. This is dope. You know, I learned a couple licks on the guitar. You know, and then when it came time to play like straight ahead, the same sort of deal. I was like, oh yeah, I get this. This is cool. Not really understanding the closeness of what I was doing. You know?
Like based on the music you were hearing at home, you mean?
Well, based on the music I was playing more, you know, and hearing at home. But at home, I was hearing a lot of contemporary gospel, you know, because I have an older sister who plays keys and violin, and she sings, you know. And so we were listening to a lot of like, you know, there was like Take Six in the Crib, and there was Ron Kenoly, like an old CCM artist, you know, Israel, you know, all the Kirk, you know what I'm saying? Like all the things that were kind of new. But in terms of like the musical, like straight ahead blues swing thing, there wasn't too much of that going on in the crib. So I was hearing it for the first time from these outside sources.
Right. Like, what obstacles have you faced because of your Haitian descent, if any? Like, were you picked on at school or?
No, you know what? That's an interesting thing because that goes into why my dad moved to Waterbury. You know what I mean? So
he told you?
No, I mean. He did tell me, but I think that was actually one of the side effects that he didn't really understand, or he didn't foresee it necessarily because he didn't grow up here. You know what I'm saying? By the time he got here, he was older, so he didn't have to go through the high school experience of the African booty scratcher and the, you know, all that other stuff, right?
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh yeah, see,
yeah.
So when living in Waterbury, like people don't even know enough. This might sound wrong, and I'm trying to find a good way to put this.
Hey, speak the truth.
I don't think most people who are racist in Waterbury care enough or know enough about Black people to realize that my heritage is not the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I just don't know a lot of that division from what I understand, again, because I didn't grow up in Miami. I didn't grow up in Brooklyn in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like a lot of that comes from a knowledge of Haitians.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then a knowledge of the prejudice, you know? So they just didn't know enough. Like I said, some people I went to high school with, they probably know now that we're Facebook friends, and every May 18th, I put up a flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's Haitian. Oh, yeah, that's right. The earthquake. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, wow, I didn't even know that about John. I went to school with him for 15 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that I didn't really experience it like that. I think what I did experience was not really people in leadership positions not really understanding actually where I was coming from, but not taking the time to figure it out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And this is more, again, like growing up in the music realm, because there's an awareness of my culture, and because the path that I've chosen to take takes me along like a for lack of a better term, like a sort of Black sort of tradition. You know what I mean? I haven't really come across anything that hinders me as far as, you know, being Haitian. Right. You know, it's the other things that happen.
See, this kind of leads into two things I want to say. One, like that's like Americans, racist Americans or whatever, they choose to be ignorant in that respect, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, and I feel like in America, white America needs Black America to fit into this neat box. Mm-hmm. Like, why do you think that is? Because white America can be multicultural. Right. You can be Italian, mm-hmm. German. You can be all of these different, you know, if you talk to your white brothers and sisters, they're going to tell you they had 1,000 different cultural backgrounds. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But if you walk up to one of them and be like, oh, yeah, I'm Haitian, I'm this, I'm that, they're going to look at you confused.
Right, right.
Why is that?
I mean, there's again, I know I'll bring it back to the same thing. there's a general the lack of interest in the humanity of. Man, this is really rough. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, at a certain point in this country, black people weren't a whole person to white folks.
Right.
It was, you know, I mean, they were a whole person to black folks, but to white folks here, they weren't a whole person. And that's who was making the rules, and they made that rule. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to evolve from that thought that they evolved to, apparently, right? At some point, they had to come to that. So the previous generation hadn't said that officially, but this generation said it officially. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So boom, here we are. Now we got to come off of that to a point where I think they're a person, and if they're a person, then they came from somewhere, you know. And it just the people who do care, you know, they're in a minority, obviously, because it's hard to find some sort of proof of a general acceptance of black humanity in this country.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's to generalize and say it's everybody is not right, but how do you just pick out specifics all the time? You know, at some point we have to address things in a larger way so that there could be some sort of change, even in thought, if not in action, you know?
Right. So, man, do your parents, like, just talking, now I'm just moving on to, like, the current state of the presidential election, basically Donald Trump.
Right.
And, like, how he's talking about deporting a certain group of people, Muslims, right?
Right.
And to me, that's scary because it can't, first of all, it's not going to end there.
Right.
That's just the start, right?
Right.
And, like, coming up in a household with immigrant parents, you know, have they spoken about that, or have you guys talked about how that's threatening? Or?
No, we haven't spoken about it. It's kind of interesting. My parents became U.S. citizens years ago. You know, my older sister, who was actually born in Haiti, became a U.S. citizen years ago. So I actually haven't spoken to my parents about the election situation. In general, my parents have not really stuck with one political party. You know, they just kind of like figure out who they believe in or whatever. And I think that very early on, I learned that, like, how somebody feels and who they want to vote for is kind of their business, you know. And I have a particular stance on it that I don't know if they would agree with. So I'd rather just not go there. I think that there is just a general worry about racism and what's being accepted, you know, with my parents, because of, you know, they've been here for 40 years or whatever, you know what I mean, 40 plus years, which is longer than they lived in Haiti, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like,
so at this point, they're Americans.
This is their home,
right,
you know what I'm saying? This is what they do. So there's that, but again, you know, they happen to live in a place where, like, they just don't care. People just don't care, you know, to be aggressive and to put up signs and to do things. You know, we went through a few things when I was growing up here and there, but nothing that was like super aggressive in a way of.
I mean, I want to get a little bit more into Philly.
Like that.
It's funny you said, because we was leading into that. Like, what was it like coming up musically in Philly? Like, what were the opportunities you had? Were you in camps, and how did you develop into you know, a virtuosic musician?
I moved to Philadelphia after I attended college, and man, that was a very developmentally important part of my life, because I was able to really get into, again, kind of the tradition of Black American music, you know, outside of a scholastic setting, you know, kind of like, you know, I had to learn how to sing for my money. You know what I mean? Right. For lack of a better way to put it. You know, the opportunities, it started out, you know, there was a jazz club there called Ortlieb's. And basically, you know, my first week there, I went to Ortlieb's. I went to Chris's Jazz Cafe, the jam sessions, and I kind of just hung out and met some people. And, you know, after a while, maybe about a month or two, or maybe even 3, I was hitting at Ortlieb's with Mickey Roker and Sam Dockery. And,
oh, damn.
You know.
I didn't realize you played with Mickey Roker.
Yeah, man. I play with Mickey. I mean, that, like, the formative, like, playing, you know. I mean, It's funny. I was thinking about it now. I was totally unprepared. My bass